Welcome back, AP Macroeconomics students. Today we're going to talk about topic 3.1, aggregate demand. What is aggregate demand? The word aggregate means added all together. When we use aggregates, we're combining all of the prices and all the quantities. Therefore, the aggregate demand is the total of all the goods and services, or the real GDP, that buyers are willing and able to purchase at different price levels. The demand for everything by everyone in the US. Important to know, there's an inverse relationship between the price level and real GDP. If the price level goes up, inflation, then real GDP demanded falls. If the price level decreases, we have deflation, and the real GDP demanded increases. Here's a graph that shows aggregate demand. Now, you're already familiar with the demand curve, and you're familiar with GDP. So combining these together will give you the aggregate demand curve. It's downward sloping, just like the demand curve, and you use the abbreviation AD. Now, it's important to know that the price level goes on the y-axis, and the real GDP goes on the x-axis. Aggregate demand is the demand by consumers, business, government, and foreign countries, or C plus I plus G plus XN. What definitely doesn't shift the curve? The same thing as demand. Changes in price level cause a move up and down the curve, but it does not shift the curve. Well, why is it downward sloping? There's a couple of reasons. One is the wealth effect. Higher price levels reduce the purchasing power of money. Therefore, it decreases the quantity of expenditures. When lower price levels increase purchasing power, then there is an increase in expenditures. The real balance effect. Here's an example. If the price level doubles, people are going to buy less stuff because they have less purchasing power. So prices go up and GDP demanded goes down. Second reason why it's downward sloping is the interest rate effect. When the price levels go up, lenders need to charge higher interest rates to get a real return on their loans. Higher interest rates discourage consumer spending and business investment. An example, if there's an increase in price leading to an increase in interest rate from 5 to 25%, you are less likely to take out a loan from a bank to improve your business because now you're paying 25% interest instead of 5%. Therefore, the price level goes up and the GDP demand goes down. And finally, the foreign trade effect. When the US price level rises, foreign buyers purchase fewer US goods, and therefore Americans are driven out to buy more foreign goods. When that happens, your exports as a country fall and your imports rise. This causes real GDP demanded to fall. In other words, the XN decreases. An example, if prices triple in the US, Canada's not going to buy US stuff, and the demand for US products is going to fall. Price level goes up and the GDP demand goes down. So we have shifters of aggregate demand. What makes the curve shift? C plus I plus G plus XN. An increase in spending shifts aggregate demand to the right, and a decrease in spending shifts it to the left. Here's an increase in demand. We have a new curve. Show this with an arrow, and by labeling the new aggregate demand curve with a 1. Or a decrease, a shift to the left, again, show the arrow, a new curve, and aggregate demand 2. So here are the shifters. Changes in every one of the components. So if there's a change in consumer spending, okay, things like an increase in disposable income or consumer expectations or household indebtedness or taxes. If there's a change in investment spending, again, either way, increase or decrease. Real interest rates, future business expectations, productivity and technology, business taxes. The third shifter is the G, the change in government spending. There's a change in government expenditures, and 4, a change in net exports. Things like the exchange rates, the national income compared to other countries, and a reminder that aggregate demand equals the GDP, or C plus I plus G plus XN. some practice for you to do to figure out which component and if there's an increase or decrease in the aggregate demand. And then some practice questions and a film from Mr. Clifford. Thank you.